Ms. Astor?
Present.
Mr. Brown?
Present.
Ms. Burkus?
Present.
Mr. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Banks?
Here.
Thank you.
Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. And right after, we do a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's be seated. Verification of notice.
This meeting is being held pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act of 1974, and all provisions of that act have been met with adequate notice of this meeting, having been published in the Township's 2 official newspapers on January 11th, 2023, published on the Township website, and posted on the official Township bulletin board.
Okay, thank you. All right, communications, I see there's none. We're gonna move on to the approval of minutes. From December 12th, 2022, executive session, December 12th, 2022, council meeting, and January 3rd, 2023, our reorganization meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I have a first. I have a second one, Mr. Brown. Roll call.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Abstain.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. This is an environmental committee appointment by the mayor with council consent. We have 2 appointments for this year from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2025. The first appointment is gonna be Dawn Brenner, and second is Zach Klein. All right. Now, moving on. We have the recreation committee appointment by the manager.
Please don't have to vote on
You said vote on
Consent.
it?
I'm sorry,
You said,
yes.
you said the vote. All right, let's show you roll call.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes,
Thank you.
sorry about that.
Yeah, me too, I don't have it on the agenda.
Yeah, that's
so-
okay. That's all right. No worries. All right, now moving on to the recreation committee appointment by the manager. We have 7 appointments here. And the first thing, I'm gonna give the names. And this is for the term of, just for this year, 2023, from January 1st to, so January 1st to December 31st of this year. So we have Stephanie Allen, Sue Jeffers, Jim Logue, Brian Parker, Jeff Reeves, and Stephen Stafford, and our council designee will be Lou Brown. Can I get a roll call?
You don't vote on that
We
one.
don't
You don't have to vote on that one?
That's
All
not
right,
an
we good?
appointment.
All right, so we get it together. We're all right. All right, so we have a planning board appointment.
Can I make a motion to table this particular appointment?
For planning board?
Yes, only because, my understanding that,
Can we get a second on your?
okay, I'd like to make a motion to table this appointment until the next meeting. Do I have a second? I'll second.
Now you can ask some discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to table this and, have this appointment be the next meeting, because to my understanding, it seems as if we've extended the application process, but we did not share it with the public. I think that the residents, should have the opportunity to know that we're extending the application process beyond the 12/20 deadline.
When did we decide to extend the application process?
Well, one of the applicants, two of the applicants most recently was 12/23 and January 12th. And to my understanding, the deadline was December 20th. And I don't believe that we publicly, let the public know that we were extending the application process.
So we do have a planning board meeting on Monday, the 30th. Okay. Do you have any comment?
Just question, make sure that this won't affect that meeting from moving forward.
It'd be one less planning board member short.
It is an alternate, is it not?
This is an alternate.
Correct, so
This
there's
is an
also members of the board that cannot vote on certain, certain
Right, if There's a criteria missing, yeah.
certain variances and everything, so if we do not have a full board, the that's the reason the alternates are there, that way they can fill in for the individuals that cannot go on certain variances. And if we don't have a full board, then we are wasting the client's time and money to show up if we don't have any people on the board.
Is there a particular reason why the application process wasn't extended to the public?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
I never asked for that.
My question was if it was going
that
to
it wasn't
affect the
extended,
planning
it was
board
that
or
we
not.
received those
because
two
of-
applications late.
There is.
Due to the lack of applications, we took them.
We did have some other people that applied for the planning board that were not selected.
Correct.
There are
Two
other
names?
alternates, we still have another alternate spot that needs to be filled.
So we had
So-
two people that submitted their application before the deadline. Why wasn't one of those two individuals chosen?
That's not up for discussion at this particular
Okay.
point.
Thank you.
Mayor, there's a motion, before the board to table this. It's been seconded,
Roll call.
Easy to roll call.
Needs a little roll call.
yes.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Banks?
No.
Motion does not pass.
So the planning board alternate of Darlene Green will be appointed to the board as of today. Moving on to.
You have to make a motion in a
You
second.
gonna make a motion?
Yes.
Motion to appoint.
Roll call?
Ms. Astor?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now moving on to the MUA appointment. This is for the term of, starting from February 1st, 2023 to February 1st of 2028.
Motion for Jason Jones?
I have a motion for Jason Jones. I'll second. Can we get a roll call?
Ms. Astor?
No, I did not see an application from that individual.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. Jason Jones is appointed to that particular municipal authority appointment. Now moving on to the ordinance, this is a first reading by title only, so no comments be taken by the public. This is ordinance 2023-2, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-2 on first reading.
I'll second.
May I get a roll call?
Ms. Astor?
No.
Mr. Brown? Ms. Burkus?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
So now moving on to matters to be presented by the public. Members of the public are invited to submit comments during the public comment portion of this meeting. The council, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, will not publicly discuss personal matters and may choose not to respond to comments made by members of the public during this portion of the meeting. However, the council will give all comments appropriate consideration and will refer all individual complaints to the township manager or appropriate township representative for a resolution. Each citizen will be allotted up to 3 minutes to speak in order to allow everyone the opportunity to express their opinions and concerns. And with this, we'll start by rows. Anyone in the first row, any comments?
Yeah.
So, name and address?
Sure. Adam Zielinski, 109 Farmdale Road.
Okay.
All right. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mayor Banks and council members for your time. My name is Adam Zielinski and I represent the Red War Alliance of Burlington County. Some of you may be familiar with our work here in town regarding the American Revolution. We recently unveiled new interpretive signs at Veterans Park, by the gazebo on High Street, as well as the new battle memorial at Ironworks Hill. I want to thank everyone again for their cooperation, for the recognition presented to our group. I can also state our efforts were recognized by a decree forwarded to us by Senator Booker, whose office has pledged to support our future work. Professionally, I am a historian with the American Battlefield Trust. I also have my master's degree in the museum field. I was born in Memorial Hospital, bought toys at Gregory's Discount, tools at Madden's Hardware, and played Little League Baseball off Monroe Street. My father built the press box there. I graduated from RV a long time ago, and I'm thankful to still call 08060 home. But I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of our group's intent to locate and extract the fabled cannon at the bottom of the Rancocas Creek. This is likely one of a handful of artillery pieces the American militia had posted on Ironworks Hill on December 23rd, 1776, when the Hessian army attacked our town and drove them out. For over 100 years, there have been numerous stories from town elders speaking of swimming in the creek as boys and diving down to touch the oddity in the mud. The cannon's location remains debated and unknown. However, our group of historians have made several breakthroughs and are confident in its location. We have spoken with geologists about what is needed to locate it and have contacted the DEP about steps to recovering it. Therefore, with the permission of the council assembled, I wish to propose the following. That the Township of Mount Holly grant permission exclusively to the Red War Alliance to conduct the survey and discovery work to locate the cannon. That the Township of Mount Holly recognize and support the Red War Alliance as leaders of this operation until the end of recovery. And that the Township of Mount Holly assist in obtaining all supportive measures by the county and the state if and when applicable. The Red War Alliance will obtain all monetary funds for this project through grants provided by the state of New Jersey. As a 501c3, we are eligible to receive funding. This will include money for the initial survey work and funding for archaeological and excavation work if and when the cannon is located. And lastly, the Red War Alliance agrees to keep the cannon in Mount Holly with the specific purpose and intent to display it to the public. I believe everyone on council knows and appreciates Mount Holly's unique and diverse history since its founding in 1677. I also believe we all recognize the unique opportunities that stories associated with our past can have for current generations, both locally and visiting. With the coming 250th anniversary celebrations, the Red War Alliance wishes to continue our partnership with the Township of Mount Holly and to assist in whatever way we can to enrich our shared history for the benefit of the township and its people. If this cannon does exist, and we certainly intend to find out once and for all, we see this being one of those unique opportunities of being able to bring the past roaring to the present with a rare object that everyone can access today, tomorrow, and for generations to come. With my time here expired, I submit this for the township's consideration and ask that they contact myself, Eric Orange, and the Red War Alliance with any questions or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Anyone else in row one?
Hello, my name is Katie Hoder, and I am here today to talk about a rain garden at the end of Church Street and Pine and behind the Colonial Cafe at 14 White Street. So the reason I bring this up is because Mount Holly has provided me with so much importance in my life and has given me so much. I want nothing more than to give back to it. So I propose a rain garden. So a rain garden is actually, am I allowed to present with a
Sure.
presentation that I made?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Uh, 24 Church Street.
Thank you.
Okay, so going into what a rain garden is. A rain garden is a garden of native shrubs, perennials, and flowers planted in small depressions or land. It is designed to temporarily hold and soak in rainwater runoff that flows from roofs, driveways, patios, or lawns. Rain gardens are effective in removing up to 90% of chemicals and up to 80% of sediment from the rainwater runoff, compared to a conventional lawn. Rain gardens allow for 30% more water to soak into the ground, and a rain garden is not a water garden, nor is it a pond or a wetland. Conversely, a rain garden is dry most of the time, and it typically holds water only during a rainfall event. Because the rain garden will drain within 12 to 48 hours, they also prevent the breeding of mosquitoes, which if you have ever been on Church Street, are rampant down there in the summer. So what I have done to further this agenda of a rain garden is get in touch with the people at the Pinelands Preservation Alliance. And through them, I have, they granted a grant to this project. So they would provide the shrubs, the labor, and everything that we would possibly need for the rain garden itself. They also got in touch with Rutgers University to create a map. Sorry, I couldn't remember the word. A map of what the gardens would look like and everything that is needed to form them. And those go over both plots of land behind the 14 White Street and the corner of Church and Pine. So please review those. And I was in contact with Josh Brown about this a couple months back, but unfortunately due to a lack of communication between everybody involved, it just kind of fizzled out. And one of the concerns that was brought up when I was emailing Josh Brown was the maintenance of the gardens, which is a very large concern, especially since I think it was a pollinator garden on High Street kind of was left to its own devices and got a little out of control. I reached out with Michael, who is he leads the environmental club at Rancocas Valley Regional High School. And he said that with his club, they would do maintenance on the garden itself. And I'll have him take away a little bit.
My name's Michael Green. I'm a resident of Mount Holly as well.
State your name.
Michael Green.
Your name, address.
404 Mount View. So as Katie said, our club has been partnered with Colonial Cafe for quite some time. We've been collecting the compost, all their coffee grinds for a while. I got involved with the environmental club about 3 years ago, and over at our annex space in East Hampton, we have a lot of stuff going on. We got chickens there last year. We're growing mushrooms there right now, indoors with the partnership from an organization in Philly. But I say that to say that our environmental club is invested, and I'm personally invested, both as a local resident and as a member of our environmental club, to get our local youth involved in these projects, and really hope to set the example for what communities can do on our own terms, not just on our municipal area, but what community members can then take that and learn from and then start to implement in their own backyards. Because if we want to be serious about rainwater issues and reducing them in our own backyards and taking that in our own hands, this is a great way that people can benefit from that and really reduce our overall cost as a community of what that cost is when we have serious flooding issues down in our community. So that would look like a huge cleanup in the fall and the spring to get the garden started, and then also to clean that up, and then probably 1 or 2 off days through the summer and everything with the environmental club, as well as bringing the community in to partner with us as well. So it's not just a school thing, but it's a whole community-wide approach.
Cool. Thank you.
And I'm gonna follow up because I'm part of this group. There's Randy Rossmel, 33 Union Street. And I just want to talk a little bit about the background of this grant. I actually came to you guys, I don't know, can't remember, a while ago to get a letter of support, and that grant was actually awarded to Pinelands Preservation Alliance. So the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grant that was awarded to PPA, which is entitled Landscape Makeover Program for Delaware River Watershed Communities, will transform lawns into areas of pollinator habitat, as already mentioned, that will help reduce stormwater runoff and localized flooding. Especially important in communities such as Mount Holly, which is essentially built out, as managing stormwater on site and in smaller spaces is necessary to deal with flooding and stormwater pollution. Should be noted that Burlington County as a whole has experienced over 45 flood events since 1950 and over $166 million in property damage from those floods. This program provides both homeowners and municipal and other institutions, such as schools, community centers, funding and technical assistance to install green infrastructure under one umbrella with multiple partners, including Pinelands Preservation Alliance, and Jack, who I work for, American Littoral Society, HopeWorks, NJLCV, Ode League, Rutgers Cooperative, and South Jersey Land and Water Trust. The program, this program, which actually started back in 2017, has already completed 20 public projects, 35 residential gardens, 11 projects for farmers and agricultural businesses. It serves as a model for communities throughout the state. Select municipalities in Burlington, Camden, Gloucester, Salem, and Cumberland are part of this recent funding opportunity, including Mount Holly. The overall objective is to change our culture of landscape management to support wildlife and pollinator habitats and to manage stormwater ecologically and efficiently. The landscape makeover program, this grant will accomplish this by installing green infrastructure projects in 15 municipalities, both public and homeowner projects that will capture a minimum of 13 million gallons of stormwater and include a minimum of 3,000 native plants. For the public program, which is the two designs that you have been presented with, were identified by Katie, and I guess Mike helped also on that, and was designed by Rutgers, and this was actually, it's already been paid for, and PPA put up money to actually get those engineering designs done. And so now they will have the money as part of this grant to actually do the installation by hiring a contractor. So we are asking for, for the Township Council to approve these plans so that they are now shovel-ready projects so that they can actually get into the ground. So we're asking for your approval for this project. If there are additional questions about the actual engineering design, I would ask that your engineer, or if you have questions, to present them in writing to me, and I will get in touch with Chris Abrupta to present those questions. Alternatively, we can set up a Zoom meeting where you can ask directly about your questions and concerns about the actual design project. We do want your input in it so that they can be tweaked or adjusted as needed if there are certain things that you would like to have being done. The homeowner program, there's educational presentations and rain gardens will provide. The first one will be February 22nd at noon and at 7 by Zoom. And those who attend these presentations are then invited to participate in a technical session. In the technical session, the homeowner, with a Rutgers engineer and landscape architect, they will design a rain garden for their own property. At the end of the session, you'll leave with a design. The homeowner then builds the rain garden, provides details to Final Preservation, which then inspects it, and then you will get up to a $450 rebate for actually installing the rain garden on your property. That's up to $3 per square foot. And I do have a flyer available. I've already posted this on some social media sites, and I'm asked that the Mount Holly Council, you can actually put this on your website and on social media, and I can provide a electronic copy.
Can you provide that information to Sherry?
Yes, I can do that. So here's the actual copy, but I can email you and provide you with. We can have that to see what it looks like, but I'll send you an electronic copy of the flyer and information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is the timeline for your project?
The timeline for the project is still to be determined. We were waiting on what the township had to say.
We'd like to do it,
Fine,
we can do it in
about
spring.
it.
We'd like
Yes,
to start in spring.
around the spring
Like a
would
spring
be
planting
ideal.
would be
Okay.
Like spring. Okay, what I'd like you guys to do is, we still need to discuss it, but whatever you need to submit to Sherry or Josh, all your finalized plans, everything you plan to do, so we can all review it to make sure everything, and if you have any questions, we'll come to you, we'll set up a time to meet separately outside of, to talk out the logistics.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Just to be really, I'm sorry, super clear about that, when would you need an answer? Like, when would you need an answer from us?
If we could set up sometime between
So
now
basically,
and the
if you're
next
looking for
council
the
meeting.
spring, you want something sometime in February.
Yeah.
I would
Answer
hope by
by then.
mid-February, we at least have something in writing.
Right.
Anytime after that
The
would
sooner
be
you
a little
get the
stretch.
information to us, but then review, the sooner you
Great.
do the decision.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next row. Anyone in the first row?
Look, I think Lois.
Good evening, my name is Luis Lopez. I live in 98 Level Drive, famous Mount Holly, New Jersey, USA. I got two comments about the MUA appointment. How many people applied for it,
I don't know offhand.
and how it got appointed?
You decided to make a decision.
As a whole team, as a separate?
That's by me.
Okay,
It was 5 people that submitted applications.
okay, thank you. And for the ordinance first reading, 2023-2. No, I meant the the one pertaining to the fire commission salary. How much is that? The current one.
$1,500.
That's on top of the USG too?
No, the fire commissioners get a stipend of $1,500. Each fire commissioner gets a stipend.
Okay. And one more question. Next Saturday is a fire and ice in my Holly. It's going like Chili's from 10 in the morning to 5 o'clock. Am I right?
Say it again, Louis?
The fire and ice is from 10 in the morning to 5 in the night.
This Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday.
10 to 4.
Oh, 10 to 4. And I would like to see the whole town work as a team to make, real decisions for the town and the people itself. I would like to see like a new senior citizen program, up and up, this year in senior days. And one that's about the speaker for the temporary speaker for the township. And the only way I know they had grants. The only way you could
You're not doing
think
anything
about
in
it.
this building anytime soon. So no speakers, so pretty much everyone up here is gonna have, just like I'm able to hear you, gotta be able to project your voice until we get into our new building.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Anyone else in the first row? Second row?
Joyce Scott, 416 Buttonwood Street, Mount Holly. I have a question about the new website. The old website had a little icon for request for service. Either I can't find it or it doesn't exist. What do you do when you need service?
So Sherry, I'll let Sherry address the issues about the website, but just, keep in point, the website's still a work in progress.
Well, what do you do in the meantime?
Hold on, let me finish. It's still a work in progress. Sherry and her team has been working on getting this up and running. So I know there's updates happening quite frequently in real time, so Sherry, you wanna pretty much address that particular question?
Yes, that particular question is that we are getting that up and running. In the meantime, if you would like to send me an email, call me on the phone, I will be happy to help you.
Actually, it was a neighbor who came to me because she knew I had used it before
Okay,
on the website, and what am I gonna tell her? In the meantime, you need a meantime. She had a media problem, and she required, and she made numerous phone calls of which no one responded to.
Do you have that neighbor's name?
It's not my place to give her name,
okay, so.
but that's all I need to know is in the meantime, we could send an email to you and you will forward it to the proper
Absolutely.
department.
Absolutely,
That was my
yes.
question, and thank you for the answer.
You are welcome.
Anyone else in the second row?
Betty Jean Kessler, 418 Langstaff Avenue, Mount Holly, New Jersey, 08060. I have brought to you for the past several months the situation with the tree branches interfering with our Wi-Fi and internet service. I received this from the Mount Holly Enterprise Zone community on January the 7th. It is a letter, well, really not a letter. It just says, contact Verizon, mark whatever, date 8/11, 11 a.m. This is totally unprofessional. There is no letterhead, no greeting, there's no opening statement, anything that discusses the reason why this was sent to me. It is totally unprofessional and unacceptable. For the main reason is the problem is still out there. I got this on Saturday, this letter on January the 7th. January the 9th, my internet and Wi-Fi service kept going out because the tree branches were swaying back and forth with the wires entangled in them and bouncing up and down every 10-15 minutes. I work from home. I have lost pay and time and work because of that problem on January the 9th. I even contacted my employer. They checked their services. There was no problem with the service. Also, I called customer service at Verizon 3 times on January the 9th. They cannot find this man in their directory, and they're telling me they never heard of him. January the 10th, I had a tree company come out, along with my neighbor, got an estimate. I paid out of my own personal pocket to have those tree branches cut off of my wires and my neighbor's wire. I did that. I ain't expecting you to pay me back my money because I know I'm not gonna get it. Bottom line is, the problem is still out there and it needs to be addressed ASAP because you have people's homes and properties in danger of catching fire if one of those wires come down. And as far as this goes, it is unacceptable. Whoever is responsible demonstrated how unprofessional Mount Holly does business with their residents. And whoever, if it's coming from Josh Brown, the township manager, somebody needs to be suspended or terminated because you are not taking our situation seriously. We have been going through this since October and it needs to be addressed because we have numerous residents who work from home and we cannot keep losing time and money from our jobs. So I'd like to see this resolved, whether it's the township, because it is a township tree, you guys are responsible and you are liable. If the township or Verizon does not take care of this issue within 30 days, I need to know where I go to file a lawsuit or whatever to get you to do your jobs.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want the copy of what I was given in the mail?
Actually, yeah, right here.
That's totally unprofessional.
Thank you. All right, anyone else in that second row?
Jenna Champion, 3 Birch Avenue. Most of you know me as coming here for one issue only, which was safety on Shreve Street. I can tell you that I was never here to be in cahoots, to be political. I didn't care about politics. I didn't care to come. I moved back to this town because I was born here, because all my forefathers were born here, and I wanted my daughter to be born here. I was very proud of my daughter to go to preschool here, and she only got a couple months in because of the pandemic. So imagine my surprise when a 4-year-old comes home and explains to me how to duck and cover because they did active shooter drills. She doesn't know what they're called even now that she's in 2nd grade, but our children do active shooter drills because they're worried that somebody's gonna come in and attack our children. Most of those have been perpetrated by other children or people that are just barely not children themselves. I don't know if you realize where those sorts of behaviors stem from, but I can tell you, well, most of you weren't 12-year-old girls at any point, but I can tell you that a lot of it is from bullying. People that feel bullied, repressed, misunderstood, and just basically marginalized tend to act out, sometimes in good ways, sometimes in bad ways. Personally, I acted out in a good way because I made sure that I did my best to prove everybody and everything that was said about me wrong. Imagine my surprise tonight when I found, and I'm not a social media person, but I go online and I realize that 3 of your pictures are on a website promoting the Mount Holly Democrats with somebody's face scratched out. I don't know if you realize what that feels like, but as a 12-year-old girl whose 6th grade photo was scratched out by a 12-year-old bully, I can tell you that that's preteen behavior. And maybe you didn't do it, maybe you don't know who did, and maybe you don't even care. But when you stand behind the bully and you don't do anything, and you don't say anything, because you can explain it away, you can justify it, or you just can ignore it, you're leading behaviors by your example for people like my 8-year-old here, who watches and hears everything that you say and watches everything that you do. And believe me, she has a lot to say about it. I have heard so many times, like, What don't they get? It's a duh. I'm a 7-year-old. You're leading by example. Please do better for our children, our society, because if the adults can't do better by standing up to bullying, you're actually part of the problem. Please, I'm begging you to figure out if you can't be part of the solution by just taking your pictures off so Mount Holly doesn't demonstrate that we accept that. I would really, as a mother, appreciate that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Casey Carty. I live at 119 Mill Street. I didn't want to come here today to take up everyone's time. However, I've been advised that I should not send an email to the township email, so I'm here to address it. Today is my elderly father's birthday, and he is fighting prostate cancer. Much to my surprise, he was sent a picture of me with my face scratched out, and he's trying to fight prostate cancer. So when I go and try to find out where this is coming from, when I look on Facebook and he shows me, the page is Mount Holly Democrats, and it has the picture of you, Mayor Banks, you, Deputy Mayor Jones, and you, Councilman Brown. I'm very concerned about that and what that means to the residents of Mount Holly. Not to mention what blackface meant back in the day. And you all know what that meant and what that represented. It was saying that black folks are ignorant, uneducated, and stupid. And so now this picture is associated with you three. And as residents of this town, we're entrusting you for our safety. And I just want to tell you, I'm going to speak for my son Zion, who was just here, and he had to leave. He's on the spectrum. He is nonverbal. Over the last couple of months, I have been to court multiple times because of folks thinking that it's okay to vandalize my home. Multiple times. And now there's this picture on Facebook with my face scratched out, and next to it, I am now being called a sellout. You know, as you know, a person who is living in this community, what danger that represents for me and my family. So regardless of what a political affiliation you are, for me, this town is about bringing everybody together. And that is something that is going to continue to divide us. Not only divide us, but it also puts my family at continued risk and danger. I don't want to have to call our already overworked and underpaid police officers because somebody is coming to my house and, you know, criminally damaging my house. So there's this picture here, and if I'm pretty sure you remember taking this picture. So, you know, if somebody is utilizing your photo, this is bad.
It is.
So can I present this to you so you can see this, please?
Take two more.
Now, we only need one for each.
Oh, well, I think they.
Oh, they're on the campaign.
So my whole point is, you know, I want to be safe. I want my son to be safe. I want my family to be safe. And we shouldn't have to worry about when my husband is not, my husband actually had to leave as well, to take Zion out of here. But I should not have to worry when I'm at home by myself that somebody is gonna come again and vandalize my home. So I don't wanna continue to perpetrate, you know, me as a sellout. And these these messages are coming from a page that has your picture. So I'm begging you to make this stop now.
Thank you for your concern. And if someone is vandalizing your home, please make a report to the police.
I've been to court multiple times. The person has been charged.
Okay,
And
so the person was caught?
yes, the person has been caught and has been charged.
And did it show?
Thank you.
Did they fail to show?
They took care of it.
In the next row?
No,
Anyone else in the second row?
yes, I was sitting there.
We're still got stuff.
Michael Rothmel, 33 Union Street, and I'm gonna pass a picture of what we were talking about so people can see what we're talking about, and you have it. And before beginning, I wanna say, by my remarks, I am not accusing anyone on this council of misconduct, but I do believe it's important to notify council of issues you're being associated with, perhaps without your knowledge. I hope without your knowledge.
Appreciate it.
And you saw the photographs, and I gave Lewis a copy to put on the video. I remember a few months ago, when Lou Brown was celebrating for the fact the Mount Holly Democratic Committee had a black majority for the first time, and that they had taken over the committee. As such, I was dismayed to go on Facebook and find that the face of the black chairwoman of the committee, Casey Carty, was blacked out. And we all knew that blackface is a symbol of racism. And blackfacing of Casey Carty is evidence showing that whoever runs the Mount Holly Democrats page is a racist. More disturbing is the page also contains on its profile at the top a picture of our mayor, Chris Banks, Deputy Mayor Jason Jones, and council members celebrating a black takeover of the committee, Lou Brown. This is just under the racist photo I discussed. Now, we all know Facebook pictures can be appropriated, and I don't even know that Mr. Banks, Mr. Brown, or Mr. Jones know that their picture was appropriated by the administrator of that page underneath the picture blackfacing Casey Carty. Because looking at the comments and the likes, it does not appear that the page gets much traffic, and I do not see your names associated with recent posts, so I cannot say that you guys even knew that Casey Carty was being blackfaced. And again, that's important. But now, as a result of my presentation, the presentation of Jenna Champion, the presentation of Casey Carty, we know that you know now that you are associated with the racist blackfacing of Casey Carty. And I call on you after this meeting to contact the administrator, whoever he may be, and either demand that he remove the racist blackfacing of Casey Carty, or remove your photograph underneath the racist photo defaming Casey Carty. Otherwise, we have the ironic image of our black representatives celebrating one of Martin Luther King's greatest goals, black participation in government, endorsing a racist photo. We cannot support a council that endorses implicit bias and implicit racism. Again, I call on you to do the right thing and demand that either the administrator of this page remove his racist photo or your photo that implicitly endorses this racist philosophy. In addition, I noticed that Casey's name has also been associated on Facebook with #sellout for taking a county job. This term also has racially biased overtones and is considered a great smear in the black community. Casey's job for the county is helping people experiencing homelessness. She could make more money in the private sector with her skills, but she has combined her job with her passion, helping our society's most needy. I don't call a job that requires you to trudge through the mud of Creek Island Park to help the homeless a sellout. Those associated with the racist trope of calling her a sellout without knowing these facts are the sellouts. Those who condone the blackfacing of Casey Carty and do nothing once they have that knowledge are sellouts. So again, I ask you, as the council members on this committee, to speak with the administrator of the Mount Holly Democrats and do the right thing and stop this racist conduct that divides our town. Thank you.
Pardon? I appreciate you bringing that to my attention.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Eric Johnson at 202 Blue Jay Lane. All I can say is wow. I had just come to talk about veterans and veterans affairs and things of that nature, and to ask what was being done for the seniors, for the veterans, their families. Mount Holly was basically built around the veterans that came from Fort Dix and McGuire. and the federal service people and those that love this area. My mother's family has deep roots in Mount Holly. I am a bit shocked in it all. You know, the one chair that's on the other side in Veterans Park that has Eric Johnson's name on it, I very rarely even mention it. That's me. My work for 20 plus years in this township on the planning board, tiresome, taking time away from my family. But most of all, I fought for veterans and their families and their loved ones. Each and every one that's here has a vet that's been in some war, somewhere in this country, whether it be a mother, a brother, a sister, an uncle, a cousin. And for us to be treated in this manner, I had to fight for a sign that I was denied. When my feet hit foreign soil, it didn't say black or white, it said American. And I stood tall and proud. I left Mount Holly with many friends and still have many friends. And I come back and I will still have many friends. And I love this little town because you know what? It's ours. And I refuse to allow this sort of thing to take place without saying something. Before I close and I sit down, my grandson and I play in the yard quite a bit. I cannot do what I used to do because I am disabled. Not by choice, but I wouldn't change anything if it meant that I had to redo my military experience, because I stood there like many other brothers and sisters for each and every open meeting so that we would be able to have the Constitution that we have. So my question is, what are we going to do for the seniors, the veterans, and the families of Mount Holly? I've asked this many times. So I ask council tonight to please consider much greater work for this to happen, because I know each and every one of us has a vet in their family, and has a senior in their family. And you know what? I never thought that I'd be a senior, but I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, it snuck up on me too.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't something that I was counting on, but it happens. And if you live long enough, you'll be a senior. And you want the respect. I love the respect of walking through the town and knowing people that I've known since I was a child. But you know what? It's good to be family. Thank you for sharing your family. And you know what? Our police departments have worked very closely with them. I've worked with some of the most elite units in the military. And I'm glad to be here. And you know what? I'm thankful for that. So let's keep Mount Holly moving forward and getting better. That we don't get caught up in this, whatever this is.
Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Johnson.
Stop.
We appreciate your comments, Mr. Johnson. Anyone next in the next row?
John Anderson, 16 Broad Street, Mount Holly. We've had this discussion going on for a couple months, so this isn't anything new, but I have a question about getting the flapper gates on King Street operational, because right now they're not operational. Per the Army contract that Mount Holly signed in 1946, the township is 110% responsible for maintaining and keeping the creek open, which isn't being done right now. So,
Where is this located again?
King Street, right here. That little dam that's over there on King Street, right? Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's a dam, right? So after 10 years of research, it turns out, lo and behold, it's not a dam, they're flapper gates. And what it's meant to do is, when a storm happens, it'll clean the silt out. Because right now the creek is filling with silt. So either you have to dredge out the creek, or, which is an expensive proposition and blah, 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 or you get the flapper gates open. It actually might be a way to just test the process of, you can clear the silt out naturally, but it's having those gates open. However, if you open the gates up, you may not be able to close them. So that's not something you just rush out and do. It would be prudent to kind of do some type of engineering study of it.
So, yeah, Deputy Mayor just mentioned that it might have to inspect and look at it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, when was the last time those gates were operational?
74.
So it's been over 48.
That's how long it's been. The nature of the beast of nobody knew what they were because the Army accidentally forgot to send a township maintenance manual. So that's what the contract was sent. So it kind of got lost in the
So
shuffle.
they got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, because if you go through the contract, there's plenty of things you can row 1,001 that. But the first question would be if you get the floodgates open, and that would be or the flapper gates open, that'd be a good way to do it.
So there's something to look into. Thank you for bringing to my attention.
All right, thank you.
All right, John.
Anyone else? Next row?
Jeff Eversmeyer, 203 Broad Street, Mount Holly. I know you guys have been missing me. I see not a lot of stuff has changed since I've left. Seems like there's quite a bit to be said. My question is, does the Township of Mount Holly still own Madden's Hardware? Because we do all these events downtown, and the place looks atrocious, and we've got code. I'm sure we're in violation, and I don't understand why we're holding a property for 10 or so years.
It's currently in negotiations being sold.
I've heard that. And the other question is Bill's Bargains. I see that there's, it's blocked off around Bill's Bargains. Any idea what's wrong with Bill's Bargains building? That's owned by the township. You know, we got that for free, and you guys have collected over $500,000 in rent. And there's barrels out there now.
There's actually been a deal completed with it, and it's going through the process of the paperwork.
Well, that's good. And the other question is, I see the MUA appointment was made, and I wonder how that could have been made. Don't you need a majority to be voted on the MUA?
No, you do not.
You don't need
That was my fault.
what's that?
That was my fault.
The MUAs, and I thought you guys voted yes and no.
There was a majority, it was 3-2 votes.
But how can, who got appointed?
Jason Jones.
Jason Jones.
How could he vote yes for an appointment on himself? Shouldn't he recuse himself? That should be the law.
No.
That's not the law anymore?
No, if Mr. Evers, if he wants to support his candidacy, he's entitled to vote for himself.
Doesn't really seem quite fair.
No.
So, and then I guess the last question is the parking lot, is that part of the negotiation? It's on King Street, Washington Street?
Correct,
The
yes.
Bill's Bargains?
Yep.
So, okay. I guess that's it.
Thank you.
There, Nick Sedano, 47 Garden Street. I got something I want to pass along. I got a communication today from Josh. But before I get into that, I just want to say, Mr. Mayor, I've come to know you. I believe you're a good man, and I don't believe you're behind this thing with Casey, but come to see the fact is somebody has got your image associated with this stuff. And I just want to offer you the opportunity to like disavow that, like what those statements about Casey, and can you do that?
I could do that after we finish this. Get to your point, please.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, so going back to the truck ordinance, which is what this thing's about. The whole process leading up to it, the state police told us that we needed to install signs at the entrances to the township. But that wasn't done. And the manager told me that, there's an issue with it being a county road. There was one other issue in here. Sorry, I have to read. Oh, and the ordinance did not instruct him to put in signs. So, I was just wanted to make sure you guys were aware that the state police told us to do it, the ordinance didn't instruct us to do it, and it's not getting done. But trucks continue to roll by my house filled with steel, literally a gigantic bathtub of an 18-wheeler filled with steel coming from 206 and crossing through and going all the way out Rancocas Road. They're not making a delivery in town. And there's other 18-wheelers that come by too. So this is what's happening, and I don't understand like how our ordinance ever gets enforced if we don't tell anybody about it by placing the signs that the state police told us to place. So that's a comment, I just wanted to make that comment. The other thing, and this is in the form of a question that I'll put to you, is Josh told me that the codification of the ordinance that was passed last October doesn't get done till maybe the beginning of the next year. So my question is, does that mean that the ordinance is not actually enforceable until it's codified? It is enforceable. Okay.
I think Mr. Brown was talking about the codification onto the website.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it exists as an enforceable ordinance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kent Pipes, 35 Mount Laurel Road, Hainsport. I have a document to ask the clerk to distribute for me, please.
No, you can, she's busy.
I can do it. This is a document which is a review from the Department of Community Affairs of our application to the Neighborhood Revitalization Tax Credit Program for project funding. Just to brief you that the process with the Department of Community Affairs is to open the opportunity for groups to apply. They create plans according to the state's design. They submit the plans are reviewed, and if they're satisfactory, the groups are admitted to present project applications on an annual basis for 10 years. I received notification verbally the end of September that our plan had been approved, but we didn't receive written communication because the commissioner hadn't signed off on it until the end of the first week of October of 2022. Then I was informed that we had until October 29th or 28th to submit a project plan, which was a whole separate application. I did that, but it was incomplete. And our project application was reviewed. It scored 43.2 points out of a possible 106, and you had to have 60 in order to be considered for funding. You can see the areas that were weak in our application, and I'm not ashamed to tell you that I struck out the first inning. Next inning, I expect to hit a home run. So I'll be batting 500. And in that regard, I'll be in the majors. But you can see that we didn't get much points in the neighborhood plan. We got no points in feasibility. And we didn't get any points in the readiness to proceed. All I needed was 16.8 more points, and those three would have brought us over 30 points had they been completed satisfactorily. So I'm confident after discussing our application with the DCA staff that we can make some changes to improve the plan for its October submission in 2023, which would bring money to this town through us in 2024. I know you didn't support my request for support before we put the application in. You submitted no comments on the plan that we submitted, and I received no comments from you at any time about anything that we're doing in this town to make it a better place. And I'm sorry for that. It's your town. I live in Hainsport, but we own properties here. My family lives here. I raise my children here. I care about this community. I'm a part of Main Street. I give hours and hours and hours of my time to bring money to this town to make it better. I just wanted you to know that I'm not hiding behind anything. Anybody who wants to fault me can put my name on the internet and call me whatever they want to call me. It won't change my attitude about myself one bit. This is the truth. Don't believe the lies that you'll see on anybody's Facebook page about me as a castigation of my character. I'm telling you to your face that I didn't make the cut, but this next year we'll do better. And I hope someday you'll reach out and shake my hand and say, thank you. You helped us out. We appreciate it. But I'm not holding my breath.
How much is the potential grant? What's the total?
Up to $1 million a year for the next 9 years.
Oh,
Okay, wow, thank
You haven't seen that kind of money in this town, have you? From the private sector?
you. Never seen that many.
Okay, thank you.
I've never seen it.
Appreciate your time. Let's move on. Anyone else?
Still holding my breath.
I wanted to reiterate what Nick had said, because I really want to see the signage put up.
Name, address.
Name and address. Holly Doyle, 11 Washington Street. You all know that.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez. I'm concerned that signage has not been put up. We still continue to have huge trucks going through our downtown. They rattle the walls. It's gonna cause damage that we've just got done fixing all this stuff. We need signage down at 537 and the bypass, so they know not even to come in that way. We need it to come, we need it from all angles, so that they know they need to use the bypass and they can't go through downtown. If we started ticketing the trucking companies, we could create some revenue and we could save ourselves from having to repair our roads and our buildings. So I just don't understand why that hasn't happened. We talked about this back in October. I thought this was fixed. So here we are again, still talking about the same old things because nothing ever gets fixed. So is there a plan in place to get this signage?
So you're asking if there's a plan in place to get the signage?
Yes.
Josh?
They're all county roads, so I mean, the county would have to sign off and put up the
I
signs.
can't hear.
They're all county roads, so the county would have to put up the signs and sign.
Well, not all of them are county roads. 537 is a county road.
Correct.
High Street isn't,
High Street is a
and
county
there's
road.
still no signs.
High Street is.
High Street is county
It's
road.
a county road.
This little section right here,
This little section is not, and that's where we put up the signs that say no trucks. So anything that has municipal property has no truck signs on it.
okay, well, can we push the state to make this happen?
The county.
We have an ordinance, right?
It's not state, it's got the county.
County.
I've already done that.
Thank you.
Is it just a matter of an
I
email?
know, but doesn't council have to do that?
Ask for signs?
They have to.
Or the township manager?
They have to have a vote on it. They have to approve it. The commissioners
They
have
should
to
be in communication.
Okay. My other question is, at the last meeting I inquired, about the issues using this building and that we can hardly hear what you guys say up there and what the members of the, town are saying. And we were promised an update on the building up on Rancocas Road. What is the update and when will construction be started on that?
Don't know the date of when construction is going to start, but we did receive or secure funding from Senator Booker and Senator Menendez. In their last appropriation when the budget before for this year was approved. So we got some money to start. I don't know when the start date is or the estimated completion date as of yet. But that's why we're not investing too much more into this building, because we did secure that funding, and so something should probably be more concrete sometime this year in 2023, hopefully.
Okay, I'll inquire next time.
Were you able to hear that? You need to repeat that, Ms. Doyle?
I'm sorry?
Did you hear me clearly, or?
I heard you that time,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
We don't hear everything. We really don't. I mean, we're not making it up. It's just really hard to hear in this room.
And some people are hard to hear.
Not everyone speaks loudly like I do. So, and I think it's something for us because, you know, we care. That's why we wanna know what's going on. It's not because we're trying to be a pain in the neck. We care and we wanna hear what our council is saying and doing. So, that's why.
Appreciate it, thank you. Anyone else in that row?